Please excuse the noise, I'm in a patch of woodland not far from the main road. You might be able to see things passing up there. And I found a lovely patch here of one of my favourite wild greens at this time of year. This is ground elder. It's that one that grows in the corner of your garden that you can't get rid of. If I was to tell you this was introduced to Britain by the Romans as a vegetable, and then, well, it's gone out of fashion, you might ask, well, why? I mean, if it's that easy to grow and that plentiful, why is it out of fashion? Well, that's because it's got flavour. And sometime around the Middle Ages, the British seemed to lose interest in greens with flavour, and these are delicious. They've got a sort of aromatic celery-ish flavour. To identify, well, they look like elder leaves to go on the ground. When you crush them up and smell them, they've got that wonderful aromatic, like sort of a mix of myrrh and celery flavour. Anywhere that there's been sort of ground dumped, or anywhere where people lived in years gone by, you'll find it. If you pick the older leaves, which also got a duller sort of coat, they're not shiny, then you might want to steam them very quickly, maybe chop them up and put them in an omelette, because they're very tasty that way. I actually often put them into things like quiches. But today I want these young shiny leaves, because they're going to go into a salad, alongside a few other greens which I hope to find out my way. They'll make a wild leaf salad alongside some lettuce and some rocket from the garden. Alright, I'll update this if I find any more tasty greens while I'm riding around. We have another of my favourites here, garlic mustard, Aliaria petiolata. Garlic, mustard, well, that says all you need to know. It's a member of the brassica family. I think we call them Brassicaceae these days, not cruciferae like when I was a lad. It's got a garlicky flavour, a mustardy flavour. It's really tasty. Very much recommend it in small volumes for a salad. Ooh, runners. If you get it much older than this, if you get it when it's really run to seed, very, very bitter, hard to eat. You don't want much of it at all then. Right now though, these young flower tips, these whole shoots like this, very, very good indeed. I've heard tell that people have been experimenting by using the roots like wasabi. It's meant to be very, very tasty. Obviously when you're picking wild plants you don't take the roots up, but this is a very, very plentiful wild green across most of England. You can have handfuls of this for a salad, no problem at all, without doing any harm to the population. Right, I'm going to have some of this and I'm going to go off and look for something else. Dandelion. You know what dandelion looks like, common as muck, you see it everywhere. It's a very variable plant across the country. In some places they all seem to be really bitter, and some places they're all quite sweet. Here in Cambridgeshire, not right. Yeah, relatively sweet, relatively nice. I'm not going to have lots of it. A few leaves of this out the salad. It has a bit of body, bit of texture, bit of shape. Very nice. This here is the young leaf shoots of oxeye daisy. Now obviously I don't want to be taking whole plants from here, and they're quite small, so I don't want to be picking a lot of it. But they are delicious. I mean, it's got those, it's an indescribable flavour. There's a thorn plant that you sometimes find in Chinese food, chrysanthemum leaf, which is really, really delicious. It's very, very like that. Looks like it, tastes like it. This is the one that has the big daisies you see by roadsides and railway lines later in the year. So I'm going to have some of that because that's nice. But I'm just going to be very, very light touch with that. There's a lot of it around, but I'll have a few leaves. Common mallow. You can cook it. It's got a texture sort of all, well, mallowy, sticky, gooey. You can make soup out of that if you want to. I choose not to. It's inoffensive is the best way to describe the flavour. It's a great one for a bit more colour, a bit more shape, a bit of bulking out, but not a very flavoursome leaf. Worth having a few. This stuff is all cow parsley, really common in this part of England. Some places you might mostly get sweet cicely and various of the other umbellifers. I'm not going to suggest you all rush out and start eating this because, well, the carrot family, the Apiaceae, there's some nasties amongst them, including things like hemlock. Unless you know what you're doing, leave these ones well alone. I, however, know what I'm doing, so I've been picking this for a long time. If I see some hemlock when I'm out and about, I'll put that in this video too. Not tell you to eat it, but tell you not to. The younger, sweeter shoots are better for salad, but actually, you know, this is very old, this is all good. By the time it runs to those tall white flower heads you see, it's a bit bitter, and perhaps only best used as flavouring. But this, some of that would be a delicious addition to my salad. This is one of my favourite wild greens. This is Alexander's, Smyrnium olustratum. It's another we're going to thank the Romans for. This was reputed to be Alexander the Great's favourite vegetable. It was much esteemed by the Romans for a period, and it was grown as a vegetable in Britain for a long time until once again we lost to having a taste in having created some vegetables. Really common around England's coastline, like celery, but aromatic and delicious. Wonderful stuff. You don't want a lot of leaves of this in a salad because it's very strongly flavoured. We'll be having a few. Why does it grow here? Well, it is most common around the coastline, but it's not only found there. You also find it in some places where there were Roman gardens and there was Roman gardening, and of course later housing developments dig up the seeds years later when you take a couple of viable ones and it's back again. The site I'm on now, this patch of rough trees, there was actually a Roman villa dug up here in the 1960s, so it's tempting to assume that this is a survivor from that era because we are a long way inland and it's not a common wild plant here otherwise. So I'm going to have some of that. As I say, one of my favourite wild greens. White dead nettle. Leaves are a bit, well, fluffy for use as a salad, but those flowers are quite delicious. A few of those scattered on top as a garnish. They're very, very sweet. They're full of nectar. Well worth having some. This one's chickweed, Stellaria media. Ludicrously common on fertile ground and very, very tasty. If you ever eaten mustard and cress, as in the stuff you grew as a kid, tastes like that cress. Wonderful stuff. It will form the backbone of any good wild salad in spring. So I was going to add some lettuce, maybe some rocket, and you know what, I don't need it. I've added a few bits of wild garlic leaf because I got that in the garden. You don't get much of that wild here in Cambridge. One day I'll find nice big packs somewhere else and I'll do a whole video on that because it's wonderful, wonderful stuff. A few sorrel leaves in there as well at the garden. And that'll do. That's salad for tonight. That'll be served with some fried pigeon breast, left nice and bloody in the middle, on the bed of this with a little hot dressing, with maybe a side salad of some carrots and some celery, I don't know, some other bits on the side. And that's our dinner sorted. Lots and lots of greens, very, very tasty, very healthy, and, well, free. This would be as good a salad as you'll get from anywhere, really. And with the added advantage that, unlike most green salads, this one has flavour. I've added a few sweet violets from the garden. I've got some white ones and some violet ones. They were both rescued from various places where they were going to be dug up. So there was a building site up on Orchard Park not far from here where the white violets were growing wild years ago. So I took them before the bulldozers came and I put one of the plants in my garden. And the violet ones, recently in Arbury Road, also in this part of Cambridge, the hedge was completely dug up to be replaced. So I took some samples of the plants from there to replant when all the work's done, and they're growing on in my garden until they're ready to go out. Presently I'll be putting both of those and some other wild plants that I saved back into that hedgerow. Once they've been fully propagated and spread, they'll be going to various places out there. So yeah, that's it. So that's my simple wild salad for this part of April. If you enjoyed this, then let me know. If you want more of these kind of videos, then give us a yell. But that will be our dinner tonight. Alright, thank you very much for watching. Bye.